Hey, daring ones. So good to see you. I'm so glad to be with you. Oh no, I don't have any water. I just finished it. But I just got really thirsty. If you don't know me, my name's Alexandra. I am the founder of alexandracavucci.com and The Daring Life, where I help women be seen, be heard, and be hired. And I want to talk to you about this today because, in fact, it's something that came up for me. And I just want to be completely honest with you guys. First of all, if you're watching live, please feel free to say hello. I'm going to pull this up because sometimes I don't get comments, and I want to make sure I'm getting comments. So I'm pulling this up on my computer just to make sure. If you're watching the replay, please say hello. You know I love when you say hello and give me some love. So I was just on a call. As some of you know, I went to an event this past weekend, called Infinite Receiving Live, hosted by Maru Iavachela. And it was phenomenal, and it was incredible, and it was life-changing, and it was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just hopping on a call with them to catch up and to kind of as like an integration period, right? An incubation and integration. And coming back from an event can be really, really like a low, like you've been on a high and then you hit a low, kind of like coming down from drugs or something. I've never done drugs, but, coming down off a high and it can be painful. And so we had an integration and incubation period. And I want to be 100% honest with you guys always. What came up for me today and what came up for me in the last day or two post-event was, what if all of this is just bullshit? What if all this mindset work is just bullshit? What if it's all just bullshit, right? What if all this woo-woo shit, this self-help, this self-growth is all bullshit? And it kind of shocked me. I didn't even know that was going to come out of my mouth. And I didn't even know that that was kind of lurking below the surface. But in expressing it, in saying it, I noticed that I've had that thought before. And for a mindset coach, that's scary as hell, right? What if it's all just bullshit? And so I wanted to share, if you've ever felt this way, first of all, you're completely normal. Please let me know in the comments below if you've ever felt like that. If you've ever felt like, well, what if it won't work for me? What if it's all bullshit? What if this just doesn't work for me? What if it's crap? What if it could work for everybody else except for me? I know a lot of people have felt that way and not a lot of people talk about it. So I wanted to bring it to light because I was feeling that way. And I didn't even know that I was necessarily feeling that way or how to talk about it. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit of what some of the feedback that I got was, as well as a couple questions to ask yourself, right? To dive into this and to really get to know what's going on and to really understand what space you're in, because you get to choose what you believe and you get to choose whether or not it's going to work for you, right? And you get to choose what kind of life you want to live. You get to choose. Everything's a choice. Everything's a choice. And so when those things come up, like what if it's all bullshit, that can be really, really disheartening for a lot of people, especially in our industry. So first things first, I want you to know that you're a human being. If you've had those thoughts, a lot of coaches feel shame when they feel that way, when they feel like it's all bullshit. A lot of coaches feel shame because this is their profession, right? That's like an artist thinking art is pointless, or, a musician feeling like music is stupid and not worth paying for. It can be really, really embarrassing and shameful when it's something that you teach. It can be really, really embarrassing and shameful when you are, all of a sudden I'm getting like hella messages. It can be really embarrassing and shameful when you feel like, hey, Brandy, so good to see you here. When you feel like you think it's all bullshit at some point. First of all, I want you to know that you're a human being. And a lot of people feel like, and they have questions in their heads, like, is this all bullshit? Is this stuff that I teach bullshit? Is the mindset stuff I'm doing bullshit? Is it really going to work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So a couple of points, a couple of things that I want you to take away. And if you guys hop on live, please do feel free to say hello. If you're watching the replay, please say hi. Hey, Roz, so good to see you. Quick recap before I get into a little bit of what I'm explaining. I was on a post-event call with a bunch of women from this event that I went to, Infinite Receiving, this weekend. And one thing that came up for me, which is scary to share as a mindset coach. Angie, hey, so good to see you. One thing that came up for me that is scary to share as a mindset coach, one thing that came up was, is this all bullshit? Is this all bullshit? Is everything that we're doing bullshit? Right? And so I shared it with the group and I want to share it with you guys because I want to always be 100% transparent with you and let you know what my struggles are and what, I don't think it makes me less of an expert. I don't think it makes me have less of an ability to support you. It was really, it can get really scary. And the commentary that I got was a resounding like, yes, I have felt this way too, right? I've felt this way and I'm scared. Because on the one hand, we want it to mean something because we're also teaching it. And so we don't want to be bullshit, right? So this comes up with fraud stuff. And on the other hand, it's really scary to think, what if it never works for us? Like, what if mindset work never works for us? And so I wanted to share with you guys some of the feedback that I got and some of the stuff that I was reminded of and some of my own insights as well, because this can stop a lot of people in their tracks. So first of all, if you have felt that way, what if this is all bullshit? Congratulations. You are a human. You are a coach. A lot of coaches wonder if what they're doing is bullshit. They're afraid that what they're doing is bullshit. Whether you're marketing or relationships or mindset or whatever. It's easy to feel like, is this world all bullshit? Like we're just doing, we're just like sharing with people our experiences and stuff. And that can be really, really hard and disheartening. So I find this means you are an expert in what you do because it's second nature to you. Yeah, Roz, that's a really, really great point. And that kind of brings me into one of the points that was brought up on the call I was on. Somebody says, well, you choose to believe whatever you choose to believe, right? So you have the choice to quiet those voices and say, all right, I see you, I hear you, thank you. But I do choose to believe that it works. I choose to believe it works because here's the evidence, right? So in every moment, you have a choice. You can listen to the thoughts that you're thinking, or you can change the thoughts that you're thinking. And you can choose to believe that this is true, or you can choose to believe that this is true and look for evidence of this. So let's say this is all bullshit. You can easily find evidence, right? Like, well, I don't have $1 million business yet, or whatever it is. But you can also find evidence that this stuff that you do, this stuff that you teach, Angie, thank you for the hearts. You were just on it, girl. This stuff that you teach isn't bullshit. You can find evidence on the contrary, right? You can find evidence that it works. You can go back in your life and say, when has self-development worked for me? When has mindset shifts worked for me? When has doing the difficult work worked for me? And if I do that, I sit back and I go, look, mindset work has gotten me every client I've ever had. I have no doubt. It helped me quit binge eating and lose weight easily, like 40 pounds, super easily, and leave it off while eating cake and beer and all this other stuff, right? It absolutely 100% fundamentally helped me find the love of my life, who I'm now, 5 years into a relationship with and will get married at some point. And so you have a choice. You have a choice in every moment. When those thoughts come up, is this all bullshit? Is this whole thing bullshit? You've got a choice in every moment to think, okay, well, I can either sit and believe that, or I can find evidence of all the times that it has worked, of all the times that it hasn't been bullshit, of all the things that have changed my life, of all the things. Angie, you can definitely come to the wedding. I think it's just going to be like a self-help coaching guru wedding, and Drake can have like 5 friends. No, she's good with that too, though. She's like, bring them all. You can either find evidence to prove yourself right and that it's all bullshit, or you can find evidence to prove yourself wrong and look for where you have used this work to shift or to change. And look, if you've ever decided on a new thought and felt better in the moment, period. I'm not saying $10,000 dropped on your lap. I'm not saying the love of your life came into your life. But if you've ever used this work and felt better, just better, that means it's working. Because feeling good is the journey to where you want to be, right? You need to feel good on the way to get to where you want to go. You can't like curse the stars and expect to make it there. Another thing. What was I going to say? I want to go into this thought, but I think I had another thought. You can choose to believe what you want to believe. You always have a choice. Also, ask yourself this. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Also, keep in mind when that stuff comes up, when like this is all bullshit, that whole story comes up, your ego is trying to keep you small. You're usually on the verge of a breakthrough. Now, it is not strange. Oh, good boy, Oakley, I love you so much. It is not strange that after such a phenomenal weekend and such a phenomenal time of connecting and being in this bubbly, like bubble vortex of love and light and happiness and growth and beauty and talking and hugging and crying, it's not a coincidence that after expansion, massive expansion where I cried and I shared and I hugged and I was scared and I this and I that, it's not a coincidence that I come back to reality and my ego's like, nope, yeah, nope. That's totally bullshit, right? Totally bullshit. And if you guys are hopping on, feel free to say hello. Just let me know you're here. You don't have to if you don't want to, if you get nervous, no worries. But let me know if you're here. And if you're watching the replay, of course, that too. So keep in mind, when you have flare-ups like this, you can choose which one you want to believe. You can find evidence to either side of what you are, going to choose to believe. You can find evidence that you suck and it doesn't work. And you can find evidence that it absolutely works. It's your choice of which evidence to look at. Number two, your ego is always going to get loud when you're on the verge of a breakthrough. Absolutely. It's always going to be loud on the verge of a breakthrough. When you've peeled back the layers, when you've cracked open a little bit, it's going to get hella loud. I don't know why I'm saying hella. It's like I'm from California today. It's going to get wicked loud. There we go. That's a little Boston for you. It's going to get wicked loud, right? It's going to get right in your ear. It's going to try to pull you back down. It's going to be like the crab. When there's a group of crabs and one's trying to escape, all the other crabs pull it back down, right? That's their instinctive nature, is to pull it back down. That's what your ego does to you. It tries to pull you back down. So that means you're on the verge of a breakthrough. That usually means you're about to climb over the top to the other side of the cage. Keep going. What happens here is a lot of people turn back. They're like, fine, it doesn't work. Fuck this shit. I need to start over. And people completely negate all of what they've done. Penny says the old crabs in a bucket. Yes. So if you have thoughts like this coming up, especially if you're a mindset coach or you're any kind of coach, this shit is bullshit. Know that you're on the verge of a breakthrough. You are on the verge of a breakthrough because your ego is trying to hold you back. Now, one thing I want to ask you, and somebody asked me this on the call, and it was so powerful. It almost brought me to the verge of tears. It did bring me to the verge of tears. When you have somebody else ask you questions like this, it can bring you to places that you didn't even realize. Brandy says, something incredible is about to happen. Keep moving forward. Absolutely, Brandy, 100%. What would happen, and I want you to sit with this question, what would happen if you let go of believing it was bullshit? What would happen if you let go of believing that this was bullshit? What if you allowed yourself to believe that it would work and you got your dream life and you got everything happening for you and everything was handed to you and everything was delicious and free and amazing and clients and this and that? What would happen? And often what you find is there's a fear that is hiding there that you don't even recognize, you don't even see. And what came up for me made me start almost crying on this call in front of, 25 women. And it was so amazing and it was so beautiful. Ask yourself that question. What would happen if I gave up this idea that I had to struggle to make it happen? Maybe you would lose your identity. Maybe you would lose the identity of the person who feels like they always have to fix things. Maybe you would lose your relationships. Maybe you would have to put boundaries in where you're afraid to put boundaries in. Maybe you would have to cut off your parents. Maybe you would have to, cut off your siblings. Maybe you'd have to stop being friends with some friends, right? So ask yourself that question. What would happen if it wasn't such a struggle? And if you guys are vibing with this, let me know. Angie's giving me some hearts. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me know if you guys resonate with this. Give me some likes or some hearts. So I know that what I'm talking about, feels good, right? And finally, journal on this. What do I have to lose? What do I have to lose? If I let go of the struggle, if I move forward, if I do that thing, whatever, if I do my thing, if I, get out there, put myself out there, what do I have to lose? And be honest with yourself. What do I have to lose? And then underneath that, write down, what do I have to gain? And you'll find that what do I have to lose are all things that are workable. A lot of people say, I feel like I'm going to lose my relationship. But that doesn't have to be true, right? That's a feeling. You're feeling because it's a fear, right? But you know what can happen in between this and that is communication and growth and inviting your partner in to grow with you and you being open to their experience and their life and their reality and making room for them in your life. That is all your choice, right? So what you have to lose, that's not the end of the story. That's not the end of the line. What do you have to gain? Whatever you write down, it's probably that and more. It's probably that and 1,000 times more. It's probably that and things you couldn't even dream of, right? So for anybody, and I also want to demonstrate, you guys, I asked myself a lot of these questions before I even hopped on this call because I'm a mindset coach and I know what questions to ask, right? I asked myself a lot of these questions before I hopped on this call. And Roz says, what I have to lose is nothing compared to what I could gain. Exactly. And that's the same for everybody. That is absolutely the same for everybody. I can guarantee it. Maybe I can't guarantee it, but I can pretty close to guarantee it. I asked myself all these questions. I journaled on it. I sat down with it. I got into it today. And then somebody asked me the same exact question on the call, and I almost burst into tears. Why? Because the power of having a coach is not bullshit. Because you could ask yourself questions all damn day, but you will also always find the easy way out, scurry around the truth when it feels comfortable. Your ego will push you in different directions. The power of having somebody else ask you the questions that you know to ask. This is why mindset coaches have coaches. This is why I have a coach. This is why anybody who's anybody in the personal development industry has had mentors and coaches and help is because when you're asked, when you're held up, when somebody holds up a mirror to you, it is completely different than when you look in the mirror, right? Because when you ask yourself these questions, then you don't always have to fully answer, and you don't always have to be put on the spot, and you don't always have to be vulnerable. Roz, I've got a few right now. I'm finishing up with one, and I am starting with another, and I might take a break in between. So I've been working with Olivia Charlet, and I was working with Levy Hess for a while. And there's a little bit of a break period. So I'm going to reconnect to myself in that period. Because I also do believe that's really, really important. That's why I have the end of the month every week. I take a week off at the end of every month so that my clients can have an implementation period. Because it's so important to come back to your own voice and ask yourself questions, right? And so what I want to stress is the power of somebody else asking these questions. The power of somebody else... Oakley, quiet. The power of somebody else putting the mirror up for you is so much more life-changing than you doing it for yourself. It is so much more life-changing than you being like, okay, what happens if I let go of this thought? Well, then this, well, then that. I asked myself that same question today. What happens if I let go of this thought that, mindset work is bullshit and all these fears that are happening after this big event that I just went to? If I had no mindset blocks, what would happen? Sure, I answered. And then somebody asked me the same exact question on a call, which I don't think is coincidence. I think the universe was looking out for me there. And I almost burst into tears because the power of having somebody else see you is incredibly life-changing and powerful. And that is what helps crack you open. That's what helps you allow yourself to be seen and heard, right? And that's what's going to put you out into the world. So I wanted to touch on that because I realized again and again, and I always realize how powerful it is, how really, really powerful it is to have support, even when you know the questions to ask. So quick recap. If you feel at any point like your stuff is bullshit and you are bullshit and your whole thing is bullshit and your work is bullshit, congratulations, you're human. And you're a human in the self-personal development industry because we've all had those thoughts. It is scary sometimes. Your ego wants to pull you down. Your ego wants to keep you down in the cage like the crab analogy I shared with you. But this means a couple of things and a few things to ask yourself. Number one, if you're having those flare-ups, you might be on the verge of a breakthrough. Your ego is going to be loud as fuck when you are on the verge of a breakthrough. Number two, you can choose to look for evidence that either proves why it's bullshit or proves why it's not bullshit. You decide which evidence you want to look at. You sit there and you say, which evidence do I want to look at? When has it worked or when has it not worked? You get to choose that. Number three, what happens if you let go? Oh, low power mode. Oh, I'm going to have to hop off soon. What happens if you let go? What happens if you let go of the struggle? If you let go of feeling like you're a fraud, if you let go of all of this stuff that's trying to hold you back, what would happen if it was just easy and you had so much joy and you were happy? What would happen? Roz says, I choose to look for evidence that points to my victory. Boom. I love it. Like that is step number one. Ask yourself what would happen. You may uncover some really powerful stuff there. I know I did. And journal on this tonight. What do I have to lose? If I move forward, if I just believe that I'm like the shit at what I do and that all of this is working for me and that the universe is working in my favor and that my job is amazing and that like people resonate with me and that I can be visible and that I am valuable. If I choose to believe that, what do I have to lose? Journal on that. And then conversely, what do I have to gain? And journal on that. And see what comes out. This is going to start getting you in touch with yourself and some blocks that are keeping you down and keeping you in. And I don't know your personal story, so I can't speak to your personal story. If we do work together, that's when we dive into your like personal story and we look at all of your stories and what you've been telling yourself and where you're finding evidence and this and that. But ask yourself those questions and start to get to know yourself. Start to listen to your voice because that's just as important, right? So I want to let you guys know that if you are interested in doing this work on a more powerful scale, if you are looking for shifting, breaking through, stepping up, being seen, being heard, being hired, putting yourself out there for the gifts that you have, and really allowing yourself to sell with conviction, to believe in your work, to put yourself out in lives in a powerful way, to put yourself out there, in a clear and concise manner that speaks right to the heart of your clients. If you're ready to do that, I've got two options. I've got a 4-month program one-on-one and a 6-week program one-on-one as well. And little something, I am going to be doing a smaller group program very, very soon. So keep your eyes and ears out for that. But if you're ready for personal support, you're ready to blow it up. You're ready to, you're ready to come out of the shadows and stop hiding. You're ready for that accountability. You're ready to take charge. You're ready to take responsibility for your results and push yourself further than you've ever pushed yourself. I'm not talking about burnout. I'm talking about rising up. If you're ready to do that, send me a PM or I'll post the link below. Roz says, I'm coming for your services soon. Boom. Love it. I love that. That's amazing. I cannot wait. I always get so excited when you're on my lives. I'm like, ooh, there she is. I'm so excited. I think we would be a powerful duo, Roz. I know you've got incredible energy. I've seen your lives. I love your energy since the first time I stumbled across you. So that would be amazing. You keep me posted. But if you're ready for that, if you're ready to rise up, if you're ready to put yourself out there, let me know. send me a PM. I'm going to post below a link to the application as well. There's a 6-week and a 4-month. If you're interested, I got you, boo. And I may have a little group program coming up all about shifting your identity and stepping into the powerful motherfucking woman that you are. Excuse the swears. I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling a little sweary today. Get my point across. I love you guys so much. Go be daring. Go do something daring. That place where you live on the verge, on the edge, where you are on the verge of tears because you share something vulnerable, where you are on the verge of feeling like you're going to vomit because you're putting yourself out there for the first time. That's where magic happens. Be daring. Try something different. Do something different. Do something that scares you. It could be sharing something. It scared me today to share with you guys that I just almost cried on a call and that I was struggling with thinking that mindset is bullshit. That's scary to me because I believe in what I do and I choose to believe in what I do and I love it and I love you guys. So it's scary. Go there though. Go to those places that are scary, whether it's emotional or physical or, taking action on different things. Go there. That's where you live your most daring life. That's where you get your biggest results. And I hope to see you on the other side. I love you guys a ton. If you're watching the replay, let me know that you were watching the replay. Say hello. I love it. Go like my business page, Alexandra Cavucci. You'll get some updates there. And I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Go be daring. I love you. I love you. Bye.